the tool impression on the soft piece of lead to the crime scene tool mark. Now, if you scrape the paint away with the tool mark, you're not going to have a crime scene tool mark. So never remove paint from a tool mark itself. So that's paint. We're going to look at soil. It does provide evidence, and we know dirt is everywhere, especially people who make their living cleaning up as well in whatever capacity. So dirt is everywhere. It's picked up from outside, from one room to another, and it's deposited everywhere, also including crime scenes. So you can find soil at a crime scene. You can trace it to where the criminals were. If you find, let's say, brown soil where all the soil around is gray, well, the criminal was found in a place where there was brown soil. Similarly, we have someone that was a suspect for some other reason, and the suspect has let's say gray-brown soil on his shoes. We'll say, well, where was this guy? Maybe he came from a place with gray-brown soil, so we'll look for gray-brown soil. It might even show where the rest of the gang, his criminal gang, was, if there were other members, and maybe that's where they dumped the body, because the suspect was there. The soil seems to indicate the suspect was there, so let's go there and see if we can find out more. Soil evidence doesn't just mean dirt. You can include any small grains that get picked up from one place to another. Little pieces of brick that get or plaster, even safe insulation, or fluffy safe insulation that gets stuck to shoes or shirts or whatever else. It's like soil evidence is not. It's not just dirt. It's any little particulate matter that gets picked up easily and transported easily and dumped easily. So soil, just by looking at it, you might not be interested in dirt, as they say. The saying goes, "Dull as dirt." So you might not be interested in dirt, but there are many different colors of dirt if you care to look. Brownish, grayish, black, green, all different kinds of dirt. Tan, whatever it is, yellowish. You look around, you'll find it. You might look around and think dirt's just black. Well, it's not. There are different kinds, and in fact, they have 1,100 visually distinguishable colors of dirt. So this is like a very quick way to say, oh yeah, if he's got the brown dirt, he must have come from that part of town. It's not legal proof that anyone who comes from that town is that part of town is the perpetrator, but it's used for further investigation. We're going to say, okay, let's focus on that part of the town. This is, by the way, what Sherlock Holmes, from what I understand, what Sherlock Holmes does very often. He sees it seems from this dirt here that the wagon wheels came from the factory right near the River Thames, because that's where this mud comes from, and he picked it up. Okay, the point is, it's used to give you a direction for further investigation. If it looks like the soil came from somewhere, let's take a look at what that place is. Maybe we'll find out more. Now, it's not just the color. It's brown, so it came from there. It's also we put it under a microscope, and if it's low power, we actually find like plant and animal materials in there. You look at you can do it yourself. You examine any soil. You'll see, ants and all kinds of bugs crawl around in there and die and then get mostly decomposed. There are plant roots that get, decomposed also in there. You can tell, or at least someone who knows what they're doing. They can look at it under a microscope and see, I see that, that this dirt has certain kind of plant and animal materials. This is mostly found in only a specific place. So you can connect, let's say if this is found on a suspect, you say this is where the suspect was, or if and if you find it at the crime scene and on a suspect, you can again get an idea that the suspect was at the crime scene. And also artificial debris, again, different kinds of stuff get into dirt, chips of wood or like decomposed chips of wood, sandy stuff that might have come from construction sites. A lot of different stuff that if you look under a microscope, you're going to find similarities where your eye cannot necessarily tell. Also the rock types. This is like, darker rocks or lighter rocks. You can find tiny specks of rock that are indicative to be a certain place. You put it under the microscopy, you'll be able to tell which minerals they are. Mineral again. That's like what different rocks are. They're made of different minerals. Anyway, you can find different minerals, and again, you can identify where this sample, this dirt sample, came from. If you look at the minerals, they're found inside it. Use enough high power, you'll find the minerals in the rock sample. Again, this is a part of the study of geology, but for in general, we're not going to talk much about this, but a good geologist, will be able to tell a lot from the minerals that are found in soil where it came from, or at least in general. This is not individual evidence because the soil is not found in one single place and only one single place, unless it is very unusual soil, and it can be done. And again, for this, you need a forensic geologist to be able to say, I know this kind of the soil is only found in one place. And if that place is a crime scene and it's found in a suspect, we've connected the suspect to the crime scene. Or we find it on a suspect, and we know where the suspect, we can say, oh, the suspect was there, based on the minerals, or based on all the information you get from the soil. But again, you need a professional forensic geologist who's trained in this field specifically to ascertain a common origin for two soil samples if it's not just, if it's not obvious by the look. And speaking of professional geologists, who are good, a very, very good one can tell just by even a drawing of a rock, where it came from or what kind of a rock it is, and that takes a lot of skill. I have a video of someone doing just that, who's so good that after just being given a rock, they can tell what it's made of, pretty quickly. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the most famous sister of Pinkie Pie.
Is there anything you can tell us about it? Anything at all?
I can't tell much from a drawing.
Okay.
Only that it's felsic intrusive igneous, granular in texture, most likely arranged in an equigranular matrix with scattered biotite mica and amphibole, at least 65% alkali feldspar by volume, with a melting point of 1250 centigrade, plus or minus 10 degrees. Sorry I couldn't be more helpful.
Well, guess what? She's right. She mentioned it was felsic igneous. And it was. I mean, well, without her, I wouldn't have figured it out, but she's right. It really was felsic igneous. The felsic is, she got that from the color. They're felsic rocks, they're mafic rocks. The felsic rocks are composed, they have iron in them as well as a silicate matrix. The mafic rocks, they're the ones that have magnesium in their own matrix, and the lighter colored ones are felsic, so she got that right. In addition, she was able to tell it was igneous by the texture. That's beyond me. Now, how she found the melting point with an uncertainty of only 10 degrees Celsius, well, that makes her the professional and not me. Collecting soil evidence is, the way it's done is, at first, the person on the crime scene, the investigator, they must make a note of the color of the soil if they're ever going to use soil evidence. So they have a record at the time what the soil was, rather than just, checking it out later, and who knows if it might have changed. Probably didn't, but you want to have a record at the time what the color is, or the differences in the soil, let's say, at the crime scene if it's a clue. Right here, there's brown soil at the crime scene when everything around the crime scene is really black.